for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Bierstead.
Here.
Downing.
Here.
Gagne.
Here.
Morset.
Here.
Odine.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Watson.
Here. Okay. Next, we'll have approval of the minutes from the September 11th, 2018 regular and closed session meeting minutes, as well as the September 11th, 2018 workshop minutes.
Approval of the minutes as stated.
Second.
All right, so we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we'll go on to the approval of the bills with Mr. Gagne.
I move for the approval of the bills in the amount of $1,971,362.38, subject to the comptroller.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we'll move to public comments. So if there's anyone in the audience that has a public comment, please come up and sign in, and this would be the time to make that comment. So come on forward, sir. If you could sign in over here and state your name and your address, please, for the council, that'd be great.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening. Thank you for having me here. My name is Lamar Ability, and I am the new External Relations Director of Student Government at the University of Wisconsin River Falls. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys for having me, and also just to introduce myself a little bit more. I'm here to represent all students on campus. If there's any volunteering opportunities that you might want students to partake in, I'll be the direct contact for that. Committees you want students to sit on, I'll be the direct contact for that. I know previously we've been working along with the city just to have better engagement between the students and the community. I'm here to build that relationship a little bit more better. Anything you need me to do, just contact me. Anything I need from the city, vice versa. And we would like to invite anybody to come to our campus on student government meetings, speak to the students, so on and so forth. That is all I have to say today. Thank you so much for having me.
Great, thank you very much. And could you, when you get a chance, either today or maybe tomorrow or something, could you get your contact information to the city clerk?
Yes, I will.
So that she can have it and maybe pass it on to,
For sure, yeah. I'll do
to
that.
some others?
I also have a question. When does your student government meet and where?
Student government meets every Tuesday, 6 to 8.
Okay.
The exact meeting is from 6 to 7 p.m. And then we have the all Senate meeting, 7 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Is that in the UC?
In the University Center,
Okay.
yes, on the 3rd floor, I believe.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but if you get my contact, just email me. I'll follow up with more information
Great.
as it need be. Yeah.
Great.
But any of you guys are welcome to come by and speak to the students. We want to have a better relationship as far as everything goes, because we are a huge community and everybody, students are a huge population of the city and our voice needs to be heard. And I want to do a better job of that. Any other questions?
Anybody else? No, thank you very much
thank
for
you.
coming.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other public comments tonight? Anybody else have any other public comments about something that's on the agenda or not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to public hearing. And we will close the council meeting and open up a public hearing for ordinance number 2018-13, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map by rezoning 2.5 acres in the Sterling Ponds neighborhood. This is a second reading and disposition. So we're now in public hearing. Is there anybody that'd like to comment on this or have any questions about this? Hearing none, seeing none. We will close the public hearing, go back into the council meeting, and I will accept a motion, if it so moves you.
I move for the approval of ordinance number 2018-13 to amend the city official zoning map.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Is there any other discussion? Anybody have any questions? Now's your chance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Number 3 is acknowledgement of the following minutes. Plan Commission from the June 5th, 2018 meeting. Park and Recreation Advisory Board from the August 15th, 2018 meeting. Utility Advisory Board from September 17th, 2018 meeting. River Falls Library Board from the August 6th, 2018 meeting. Historic Preservation Commission from August 8th, 2018. Number 4 is a resolution directing the Plan Commission to review and analyze potential amendments to the official map. Adopting this resolution would direct the Plan Commission to review and analyze potential amendments to the official map. This is just moving it to Plan Commission. Number 5 is a resolution to reject bids for the community wayfinding signs. Adopting this resolution would reject the bids for the community signage and wayfinding program. The expectation is to specify parameters and rebid the project for the first 2 phases of the program. Does anybody have anything they'd like to pull? Okay, hearing none, I would accept a motion.
I move approval of the consent agenda, items 3A through E, and 4 and 5 as read.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
I just would like some clarification on number 5. Why are we rejecting those bids for the wayfinding signs?
Christie,
Just so the
or
public
I'm
has
sorry,
kind of
not
understanding.
Christie. Julie, or I don't know if Mike Stifter wants to speak to that real quick?
And I'll kind of clarify why I'm asking. I know we've put a lot as a community and as staff and council into this project, and I know we've been working up to this. It'd just be nice to have some clarification on that.
It's more of just an administrative and technical issue. The bids included installation as well as.
It's broken.
And our original estimate from Guy did not include installation, so the price of the bids were considerably higher than we expected. We also included all the signage, and from a financial point of view, that was, 10+ years worth of work. So
Yeah.
and it just made sense to reject those bids. They're too high. The unit price was probably good for just the signs themselves, but with the installation, we need to back off on that. So the suggestion that Mike had is to rebid just for figures 1 and 2.
Awesome. Thank you for the clarification.
All right. Yeah, I think your mic isn't working, Julie. Maybe you can grab Christie's.
I think we've had some issues with that in previous
All right,
meetings.
any other questions?
Nope.
All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Number 6, resolution approving the project plan and establishing the boundaries for the creation of a TID, tax increment district number 14. Adopting this resolution would approve the project plan and propose boundaries for the tax increment district 14. And Sean Lentz is here to give us a 3-hour presentation this evening.
I've already been warned to not do that.
Any abstinence?
Oops. Good evening, Council. Put together with city staff's assistance a brief presentation. I know that many of you on the council are familiar with tax increment financing and the city's use of it in the past. If you will bear with me a second, though, I think it's always a good reminder to talk about a little bit about how tax increment works again, just to set the stage before we talk specifically about district number 14. So again, in general, and please feel free to ask any questions, when a city goes about the process of creating a tax increment district, we pick a defined area within the corporate boundaries of the city, and we determine what the taxable value of that property is. For the purposes of tax increment, that's called the base value of the district, and the base value has and will continue to generate tax revenue that goes to all the taxing jurisdictions, including the city. When a district is created, from that point, the creation point, to the end of the life of the district, any new development that increases the value of that property that you have defined to be in your tax increment district gets categorized as increment value rather than your typical value. And the difference is that increment value, the taxes collected on the increment value, instead of going to all the taxing jurisdictions, they go to a separate fund that the city manages and uses for projects trying to promote development or redevelopment in that area. And you use then that revenue to pay back incentives or other potential projects to achieve that goal. So just a little bit about how it works as a backdrop before we get into more specifically about District 14. I did include, and I think many on the council have probably seen this before, this is a list of eligible expenses, and I think over the years, as the city has used tax increment financing to promote redevelopment and development goals in the city, I think all of these expenses have been used by the city and paid for with tax increment revenues from different districts in the city. Okay. Earlier this summer, in working with the city, we had developed plans for 2 tax increment districts, District number 13 and 14. As you may recall, the 13 process has already moved forward and been approved by the City Council. The 14 is up for your review tonight. What District number 14 is it's categorized as a blight elimination district. It has a 27-year maximum life and a 22-year expenditure period. It partially overlays existing tax increment District number 7 in the city. And it's really a combination of development incentives looking to try to promote redevelopment in the area. And for the council, it's just outside of the city hall here, so you know where the location is. Big picture goal in the project plan is redevelop that existing apartment sign, promote improvements along the Kinnickinnick River, and also some adjacent City Hall site properties and improving that property as well. On page 6 is the map of the tax increment district and a couple more additional pieces of information about it. As I'd mentioned, we were looking to redevelop that apartment site. There'll be some utility expenses, some development incentives, also some projects that are outside of the boundaries of the district but within a half mile, so those are eligible expenses. We're looking at somewhere around $9 million in new value, increment value created on the site, and overall, including interest, potentially somewhere in the range of $4.7 million in expenses over the entire life of the district. One thing to mention too, the expenses that are in the project plan, by putting them in the project plan, they make those expenses eligible tax increment expenses, but they're not automatically expenses that are approved by the council. Those will come before you on a case-by-case basis during the implementation of the district. So the process, as I'd mentioned, some of this was started earlier this summer. We had in early June an initial meeting of the Joint Review Board because all the taxing jurisdictions do have an opportunity to participate in the creation of a district, the district. On that same night, the Plan Commission held a public hearing on the creation of 13 and 14, approved the creation and approved moving them forward to the City Council. 13, as I'd mentioned, was approved earlier. 14 has been held back a little bit for some different timing issues related to proposed projects in that area in District number 14. So tonight, that resolution approving 14 and the boundaries is before the City Council. If the council approves that, we would have a second meeting of the Joint Review Board for both 13 and 14 in early October. And all the final step is all the documentation will be provided to the state of Wisconsin for the final creation of both of those districts. So again, this evening, that resolution is before you, but before taking any action on that, if there's any questions that I can answer, or I'm sure city staff would be happy to do so.
Anybody have any questions?
I have one quick question.
Mr. Downing?
Why wasn't this bottom bottom part included in the boundary line for it.
Picture of the boundary,
The
Sean, do
little
you have a
gravel
picture?
parking lot on the south end.
Do you have a picture of the boundary that you can scroll to on the screen?
You know, I think I've just got that,
Colored one.
I wonder if I could.
7? You better bring it up there.
There we go. We have this map, if those in the council that have the project plan, Julie, if I switch the camera here too, can I?
So how did you determine the boundaries for that? And this was my question in that respect.
Let's see if this, this is
There you
one you're looking at. These parcels, we do have to put whole parcels in, and we want to include parcels in which we believe new value will be generated to increase that increment value. So in looking at the site, we can put in right-of-ways, as you see with some of the streets that are there as well. So these were the parcels that were intended to be put in, because I think as we had discussions about those were most likely the parcels where new development or redevelopment would occur. And as I'd mentioned, but just to reiterate, the council and the city can do projects that are outside of the boundaries of the district, but within a half mile. So if there are, and I think a few of them were listed on that previous map that we had up before. So if there are expenses just outside of the district, those could be potential project expenditures as well.
What's the rule, Sean? Half a mile or mile?
1/2 mile.
Half mile. that's
Yep.
what I thought.
And we've got a trail that's currently running through this, right? Right.
Is it appropriate to ask if, we do have some activity on the site, correct?
Correct.
So
Yep.
there's something stirring already?
Yep.
Okay.
I have one quick question, if I might, and it may be more for Julie. A comment real quick first. I'm glad to see the trestle bridge is included in part of the phase. But I'm curious as to what the property acquisition is on Second and Division. There's a star there.
Yeah.
What is that for?
What is that?
Can somebody tell me?
Improvements in that intersection someday?
Okay,
Second Street intersection.
Second Street
and
intersection?
Division?
Got it. Okay, I think that's a good idea too, as a matter of fact.
Here.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I'm not happy that we didn't get this until this afternoon. So this is a lot to digest in less than an hour. I'm looking on page 17, and I'm a map proposed TID number 14, zoning. We've got the orange parcel bounded by Clark and Cedar. That's proposed to be zoned multifamily high density. And then we've got the two parcels to the east along the river proposed in L1 industrial. One of those is currently zoned conservancy, the northern one, as I understand it. I guess I'm just, I don't have a problem with that western parcel, being developed. I'm not as comfortable, and I don't think it's really a good idea, to be honest, to be putting industrial development right on the river in basically right, adjacent to City Hall.
Yeah, my question
So
there
it's like, what are we looking at here?
is that property
That wasn't-
denoted?
It's intended to be residential for two of those parcels, and not the Moody parcel, that's already in conservancy, it looks like.
Okay, because the
But
scale
the
shows
two-
it as I-1 industrial.
Yes, I think that's intended to be residential.
All right.
So, in other words, the coloring is incorrect? Is that what we're
It may be. Amy, do you have anything to shed on that, or? No, we do not. Okay.
The zoning would come, well, that's not part of
That's not a part of this ordinance.
Oh,
I'm just,
and I'm wondering if that's current zoning that would need to be changed anyway.
currently, it looks like we've got residential on the southeast lot, conservancy on the northeast lot, and vacant on the western lot.
Just to confirm, it's not intended to be industrial.
All
I
right.
mean,
Okay.
the proposals that we've received, the draft proposals would be residential.
Right.
All right, I guess that's the last of my questions. I'm half okay with this project plan.
Well, remember, this is just referring it
And-
Yeah.
for the TID. So we
Right.
still got developers agreements and
Yep.
all kinds of other things to go at it.
I do understand that, so, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Sean.
Yep, thank you.
All right, with that, I'd accept a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the resolution approving the project and establishing the boundaries for the creation of tax incremental district number 14.
Second.
First and a second. Any more discussion?
I do have some discussion. So this is just creating the boundaries for, more of a clarification question. This is just creating the boundaries for TID 14. This isn't rezoning.
No. This is just creating the boundary so that we can then send it to the joint review board.
That
And
was
they
my
can,
understanding.
they can establish the TID and then,
Right, it is describing the plan on what we expect to do, though, but it's
Yeah.
not the zoning.
Right.
Correct.
So at a later date, if that were to come before us for commercial, we could say yay or nay.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm in favor of it. I know that we've got a project pending, potentially something in the works there, and that was one of my questions too, and I expressed concern about getting this last minute. And I know that was a one-off, so, but I'm in favor of it. I know we've got some things that are burning, and I'll be voting in favor.
Well, can we make modifications to this plan to reflect this current discussion, that those two that are shown on page 17 as being L1 industrial, that the one should be residential and that the other one should be conservancy, per our discussion here?
I don't know that that's
Amy's
an
like, no,
order. I don't know that that's an
Well,
order, because
We
it's,
can't change the map.
So current discussions have been that those 3 parcels would be commercial and there would be a PUD over them.
yeah.
So currently, the left parcel is commercial and the 2 right parcels are industrial.
So that's the zone, that reflects what the zoning is today.
Well, I think the map that is in the packet shows
Shows the-
residential, multifamily, on the left parcel. So I think that map is incorrect.
On page 8.
Okay.
But not the way I thought it was.
So before this goes to joint review, can we
This
clean up
was
that
closed.
map
Yes.
and get it fine? Is everybody okay with that?
Which one are we cleaning up, 8 or 17?
14, yeah.
Are we cleaning up that map?
8 says existing
Or are we
uses
cleaning up
and
that map?
conditions, so
That's
that's
the
not
one I saw that
necessarily
needs to be
zoning.
fixed. I haven't looked
One
at the
needs to
other
be
one.
fixed.
17 would be the map.
On page 17.
That needs
Showing
to be
these
fixed.
industrial. Yeah.
Yeah, those are use, this is the one I think we'd be more concerned about is zoning.
Yeah.
So the map on page 17. So do you want to make an amendment to that, Mr. Page?
Just that we should amend as appropriate.
Okay. All right, we have a first and a second on the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment to amend the package to reflect the proper zoning on page 17, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Now we're back to the original resolution. Do we have any more discussion on that? Okay.
I do feel a tidbit rushed, but I think I'm on board with what we discussed here today.
Okay,
So I'd prefer if it was given more time in the future for something like this.
okay.
I'm going to just make one last comment, and that is, I'm not really in favor of the residential development right on the river here for these 2 eastern parcels. I know that's been the discussion with a developer and/or some planning that's gone on, but it's just not something that I'm interested in. So
Okay,
I will probably vote no here.
okay.
Just-
I mean, that's
just-
your prerogative.
That- no,
certainly is.
absolutely. Yeah,
Mel, could you explain that part again?
A developers come forward, as I understand, with a plan for this area. There have been some discussions at various council meetings about that. I am in agreement that the current vacant lot to the northwest along Clark and Cedar is a good place to do some kind of a development. I don't think development in the I think that the multifamily development that's there, the unit that's there should be torn down, and then I think the conservancy area should be basically extended below to include that parcel. That's what I believe. Having thought this through some and kind of trying to figure out where I stand on it, and so that's just, I just want you guys to know where my thinking is on this.
Sure, and I just want to make sure we're all clear again, this is just to define the boundary of the TID.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So we're not
I-
voting on a development plan, we're not voting on any zoning tonight, we're voting just to establish a TID district.
Right. And
Okay.
if I may say, I share Mr. Watson's concerns. I will be voting for this, though, because I think those concerns can be addressed in another forum.
Okay, I think we've had appropriate discussion, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to the administrator's report. Are there any questions for Julie? Okay, that's pretty quiet.
We do have some upcoming meetings, so
All right.
I'd like to
Julie, if you wanna
mention
give us some
September
updates.
27th, Kinney Corridor Project Open House at the lower level of the library from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So hopefully people can come to that. October 2nd, 5 p.m. is Run with the Cops. And I don't know if you've seen their video that they put out. It's pretty funny advertising that. And then October 22nd, absentee early voting opens at City Hall. So it's coming right up.
Okay, any other questions? Moving on, Ms. Odine and the Comptroller's report.
This is the Comptroller's report for August 2018. General fund revenues through the end of August were $7,498,433, or 75% of budgeted. Revenues in August include $1.8 million for the August tax settlement. Expenditures for the same period were $6,313,871, or 63% of budgeted, for a net of revenues over expenditures of $1,184,562.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't think there's anything else on the agenda, so I will
Move to adjourn?
move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.